This morning, mass demonstrations planned following a violent and bloody day on the streets of Caracas. Protesters fed up with President Nicolás Maduro fighting back with rocks, sticks, and Molotov cocktails. An armored military vehicle plowing into and then over civilian demonstrators.
Last year, inflation topped 2,600%. This year, the IMF expects it to hit 13,000%. In March, President Nicolás Maduro announced plans to change the face value of the country's bolivar currency, knocking 3 zeros off.
Hi, my name is Jared Lewis. I lived on the border between Colombia and Venezuela for 5 months in 2018 and saw firsthand the tragedy happening in Venezuela. It caused me to wonder, why is this happening? Through what I learned there, and upon researching the topic, I came up with some answers. The answer is not simple, but understanding two basic economic concepts and how they've been misused will make it much easier to understand. The first of these is the concept of price controls. Price controls come in two forms: price ceilings and price floors. A price ceiling is a maximum price imposed on a good. On the other side, a price floor is a minimum price placed on a good. Starting in 1974 with the petroleum industry, Venezuela started to nationalize the nation's industries. When Hugo Chavez took office in 1998, this process, Starting in 1974 with the petroleum industry, Venezuela started to nationalize all of the nation's industries. When Hugo Chavez took office in 1998, this process accelerated. Here's one famous example.
¿Y este edificio? Es un edificio que tiene comercio privado de joyería. Exprópiese, exprópiese.
What you just heard was Hugo Chavez asking his aide about a particular business in Caracas. His aide responded that it was a jewelry company. Then, with one word, expropiase, it belonged to the government. With total control on this and many other industries like it, they imposed the Fair Prices Law in 2014, just a year after Chavez's passing. The law only allowed a certain profit margin on goods. Without the incentive of making a good profit, our second economic concept comes into play. Shortage is when a quantity supplied doesn't meet the quantity demanded and is only worsened with price controls. If an industry can't make a good profit off of a good, then why would they sell it? And the most obvious shortage in Venezuela is food. With the withdrawal of many food companies from Venezuela, including companies like Kellogg's in 2018, shortages in food started to arise. According to Reuters, Venezuelans reported losing an average of 24 pounds in the last year. Most eat 2 or less meals per day. In my time in the border between Colombia and Venezuela, the new refugees were easily identifiable because of obvious signs of malnutrition. Now, this wasn't because they couldn't necessarily afford food. It's because there wasn't food. To recap, price controls are mandatory regulations on the price of goods. Often, however, these controls can lead to the removal of incentives for businesses and their owners. To recap, price controls are mandatory regulations on the prices of goods. Often, however, these controls can lead to the removal of incentives for business owners and To recap, price controls are mandatory regulations on prices of goods. Often, however, these price controls can lead to the removal of incentives for business owners to provide these goods for the public, which leads to a shortage of goods. So, are price controls such a good idea? It's hard to say, but the numbers speak for themselves.